Today, I want to talk about hearing from God, God's divine intervention. A lot of times do we hear from God? So today, I want to talk a little bit about that, and I hope you enjoy this video. So today, I want to talk about something that I know sometimes, and I've had this asked of me recently, is how do you know sometimes if God talks to us, and how does He do it? And does you think we actually hear Him? Do we listen? And today I want to talk about that. Is how do you know what really God wants you to do? If in life, well, how do you know? How do you figure out what God wants you to do? So today I want to talk about that. But today's verses, what this is going to be about today is if you would look into Proverbs uh, chapter 2, verses 1 through 5, and this whole talk today is about this. My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding, and if you call out for insight, and if you cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it for his hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. We'll go on to 6. For the Lord gives wisdom, and from his mouth came knowledge and understanding. So I added the verse in there, 1 through 6. That's the thing, a lot of times, you guys ever wonder about that? You ever met someone that just lifts your spirits? Have you ever met anybody like that just actually takes and they just lift your spirits up? And they make you happy just being around that person, you know? And are they living like Christ? Do they live like Christ? Maybe somebody at church or someone you know. When I was a youngster, I had this gentleman I worked with a lot of times, and he was always happy. And I would ask him, I said, it seems like you're just happy all the time. No matter where you're at or what's going on in your life, you're happy. And he was just this and as a young guy, I had my ups and downs. I was always, I was irritable and happy, and not really just trying to figure out life. And I was young. I was 18 years old, and this guy would always come in. He says, "You have your notebook ready?" And I go, "Yeah." He said, "Come on, we're gonna walk around, make these notes for me." And he's like this. So I'm working with this guy, and one day I just asked him. I says, really, how in the way you stay all upbeat, and all the phone calls and people yelling and screaming at you and this, that, and other, and you're handling all these problems and dealing with all the stuff you have to deal with. How do you do it? And he says, I have Christ in my life. I said, what? I have Christ in my life. And he says, I just let it all be upon him. He helps me every day. And if things happen, they happen. I solve them. If I can't solve them, I can't worry about it. I just let the Lord decide on what can be solved and not be solved. And sometimes the Lord leads me in this path that I may not know what it is until I get there. He says, you have to listen. And I said, oh, okay. So as a kid, I said, okay, all right, I understand. But as you're saying, even though I'm a Christian and I'm trying to be a practicing Christian, yeah, I listen to that and go, yeah, okay, but my problems are still here. But really, in listening at that time, I said, okay, I need to start developing a little bit more happiness in my life because, I'm tired. I don't, got a few hours sleep last night because of this, that, and the other. So, you know, I believe there's many people out there like that really want looking for some happiness in their life, and I believe that that's something that we all need to look for, and we have it. We just need to look for it and help the ones that may be in need. I think God wants us, the Christian, to just help people. And I think a lot of times, and that's what he was doing to me. He was helping me. I did not know it at the time, but what he did, he put the seed in my mind, and he gave me that idea that, oh, okay. And later on, I didn't think about it, but next time I see him, I thought about what he said, and the next time I see him, I would see him every day. This gentleman that I knew at that time, he was kind of a district manager over the supermarkets that I was working for. And I was the low man on a totem pole. I was young. I didn't know anything. I was, just basically someone that he just kind of latched onto. And he said, follow me and come with me and go with me here and go with me there. And I say, I'm supposed to clock out. He said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And so it was just really more of a mentor. But don't be afraid to help people and ask for help. And that's the thing. I can remember back then, it's like I said this morning. If you see someone that are in need, do you kind of walk away from it? If you see a lady fall on the ground, do you let her lay on the ground? You go help her. If you see someone have a bunch of papers and they fell out of her bag and they're blowing across the parking lot or something like that, do you help them? Do you let it go and say, well, I can't help them right now. It's some other people to help them. Do I just let it go and not help? What do I do? And I think overall, I think as Christians, we need to start doing things and helping. We need to kind of set ourselves out there and help the people that sometimes. I believe this. I believe as Christians that we got to live a certain lifestyle. I mean, do you open up a package of peanuts and throw the wrapper on the ground? Are you living like a Christian? What are you living like? Do you eat something, spit it back out, and throw it on the ground? Do you pick up things? If you see trash on the ground, do you pick it up and take it to the trash? Another prime example of this: do you see a buggy in a parking lot where you're at Target or somewhere, and you see that buggy racing across the parking lot? Do you grab that buggy and keep it from hitting the other car? Do you just let it hit the other car? Or you just go on not worry about it? Do you run after that buggy and then go grab that buggy and do you stick it in the slot? What kind of person are you as a person? And that's really what I'm trying to say today. Are you a Christian living? Are you a Christian part-time? Are you someone that are you living Christian all the time? Do you sometimes get up in the morning and say to yourself, oh, I'm in a crabby mood today, I'm going to stay in a crabby mood? Or do you try to find a way? Do you pray to the Lord and try to find a way out of your crabbiness? Say you have a problem or you have something that's happening to you that you may have a problem with. Do you ask the Lord for help? Are you listening? Sometimes the small things, he may ask you to take a job and you end up taking a job, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to make $1 an hour. I don't want to make $2 an hour. I don't want to do this job. But you find yourself, are you humble? Do you wake up and find yourself humble enough that you do that job? Sure, you can do the job. Do you want it? No, I don't want to do it. But you find yourself doing it no matter what anyway, and sometimes it leads to a better place. And sometimes the Lord tests us in a way like that I'm telling you to take this job because it's going to lead to something else. He doesn't say that to you. You know, do you have sometimes this temptation in your ear? Oh, I need to smoke that cigarette. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to commit adultery. I need to do this. You have this in your mind. It's pecking at you all the time. Well, that's the evil. That's the evil just talking in your ear all the time. And you have in this ear over here saying, well, I don't need to do this. I'm Christian. I don't need to do this. I'm living like Christ. I'm a Christian man. Well, what you have to do is take a thought in your mind of who you are as a person and make a decision. I'm not going to take a, I'm not listening to this side anymore. This side anymore. I'm not listening to this side where it's telling me all the negative stuff. I'm only going to listen to all the positive things because all the negative, all that's going to, you think negative, you're going to be negative. You think positive, you're going to be positive. If you have a joyful heart, you're going to be joyful. If you have a sick heart, you're going to be sick. If you have a happy heart, you're going to be happy. And that's what the Lord is saying. Please come to us and you may be happy. I was thinking the other day, and I saw this guy, and that reminds me of a story, another story. Uh, the other day I was thinking about something. I saw somebody picking up cans here, and they go around and they give you money from cans. It reminded me of the story of a gentleman. I was working for a company, and we were actually pulling wire. We call it pulling wire. Like you say, you build a house, so they pull wire from point A to point B. But we're working on this particular job site, and I was pulling wire at a fire alarm, and I was pulling from here to there, and here to there, and here to there. And this guy is always out in the parking lot. We take our breaks, and we go out there and we sit, and we have a water and a snack and this, that, and other. And he would be sitting there, and he'd have no snack, no water, or anything. So it'd been going on about 3 or 4 days, and finally I says, I wonder who this guy is. And I see his son in the car, and he's always there picking up the cans off the job site. And as you know, you'll have 100, 200 people work on each job site, so you just throw the cans on the ground. What kind of person are you? You pick the can up and put it in the trash. So this gentleman sitting there, and I sat down right beside him. We were all in the shade. We were on the sidewalk, and I bought him a water and a snack, and said, "How are you?" And he said, "I'm doing good." And I said, "What's going on? Are you homeless?" And he goes, "No, I have an apartment. I just lost my job and ran through some hard times." And I said, "Is that your son sitting in the car?" And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "I come down here and I'm picking up cans. I go over here, I go over here, I go to the different job sites and pick up cans. And I turn them in for money because I've applied at other jobs and I just can't really seem to get a job." And I said, "Why?" He said, "No matter what I try to do, I said, I go in, as you know, I'm clean shaven, I comb my hair. I said, what industry did you come from?" He said, "I worked IT." And he said, "I lost my job at the company." I said, "Yeah, I heard about that. He says, "I went to go apply for these jobs and they're just not hiring. I just can't." He said, "I even applied here. It's picking up trash." And the guy says, we don't need it. We have our own cleanup people." And as I'm sitting there, and I said to myself, "Oh, what a good guy." I talked with him a few minutes. I said, "I tell you what, this job here cannot offer you a lot of money, but it can offer you some money. What would you think of maybe starting tomorrow, and your starting pay would be this amount of money, and you get meals covered and things like that. Is that okay with you?" And he started crying. He goes, "Yeah." He says, "Yeah, I really." He says, "Yeah, I need a job like that." And I said, "Well, you start here tomorrow." He says, "Well, who are you?" I said, "Well, I own the company. So you start here tomorrow, and we'll finish this up. And after this job's finished, I'll put you on another one, and we'll go from there, and we'll figure it out." So long story short, we just let it go on. All right. And he worked for a long time for me. Never an issue, never a problem. Always showed up on time. But later on through the years, 15, just step forward 15, 20 years. It's actually 18 years. I counted it up last night. 18 years. I'm sitting in Walmart, and I'm doing my thing. Same thing. I'm doing iPhone. So I'm sitting, and this guy comes up behind me, and in a deputy sheriff outfit with all these badges and everything else. I says, he goes, "You remember me?" I go, "No." He says, "You Tom, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, you changed." I said, "To the good or bad?" He goes, "Good." I said, "Who are you?" He goes, "This is Doug." I said, "Doug, how are you?" He said, "I'm doing fine." He says, he started crying. I said, "What's wrong?" He says, "That point in my life is the lowest part of my life I ever had in my life. And that time you gave me that job and kept me on, and I stayed working with you all those years." He says, "I have to tell you, you gave me a better life than I ever had. You helped me get an apartment. You helped me get my car fixed. You helped my son. And my son is now graduated college. And guess what he is doing?" I said, "What?" He said, "He's going in IT. He just started a job. He's going to be making like 80 grand a year." So, man, congratulations. He says, "But at one time of me picking up cans, at one time you took the interest in me and gave me that job." And I said, "Well, honestly, I didn't think that much about it." I said, "I felt sorry." I said, "But," I said, "you were always there and you were working." He says, I've never missed a day." He said, "Now I'm a sergeant at the sheriff's department." I said, "You're the sergeant?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "I'm the guy that raised the sand to all the other guys now." I said, "So what happened?" He said, "I went from there to corrections, ended up corrections, worked there 3 years." He said, "Eventually I got all the stuff I needed to get. My degrees, I went to school at night, I did everything I need to do. In fact, when I was working with you, remember you assigned me up at the community college." I go, "Yeah, I remember that." So anyway, he ended up being a deputy sheriff, and he cried. He's literally just bawling, sheriff bawling. He had bulked up quite a bit, being in his current job. Just muscular, in good shape. Anyway, long story short, he ended up in. I think you never know the simple things like that, what you can do to someone's life, and you don't think about it. But at the time, it was nothing for me at that moment, but it was so much for that person. And I think we all need to take our time in doing that. And we, as that time in my life, for me even, was a hard time for me. I mean, I was trying to find money. I couldn't find money. I tried to get on these jobs. I tried to, because I was selling this work, and I was doing everything I could do, and just get the payroll, to meet the payroll. And I was really having a hard time. And I would pray to the Lord, Lord, please help me get money in this week. As you know, today's Thursday. I need money by tomorrow. And it always worked out. It always worked out. I never had to worry about that. Everybody always got paid, never had a problem, and never did that. Sometimes the small things can lead in something big. I really believe sometimes you put a seed in someone's mind, and when you go somewhere, even the small stuff matters. Like you go into a restaurant and you order something, do you actually kind of clean up after yourself before you leave? Like you go in a hotel room, do you take the time to clean up the small stuff there and pick up a few things and clean the room? Well, Ruth does the extreme. My wife is such a good host or hostess, or a person that is, staying somewhere. She cleans the room. She actually cleans the room. I tell her not to worry about it. Just make sure you pick up the top, but she cleans the room. And so the maid that goes in that room, she's going to find the nicest made bed, everything already swept, floor swept, trash taken, towels in one corner, things like that. And there's all no cans, nothing laying around. So what kind of person are you as a person? Do you think that what you do now can affect you later on down the road? Do you think that when God's speaking to you, do you think that you're listening now and you don't want to do something? Do you think He has a different plan for you? And I think sometimes God does that. He puts a seed in our mind that He has a plan for us. I never would have thought I was, 55 years old, or I'm 65 now, even think about being here in the Philippines. I would have never thought that. No matter what, I would have never thought I would have been here, right? So sometimes you see someone that needs help. Do you help them? If a guy falls off on a motorbike, do you help the guy on the motorbike? Do you let him lay? What do? Do you take the time to spend the time and energy to help that person? Do you believe that's the right thing to do to help someone? And what I mean by that is sometimes people may question you, well, why would you do that? Well, because I think it's the right thing to do. Well, I don't think it's the right thing to do. You don't need to do that. So sometimes we need to listen what's in our hearts and God instead of listening what anybody else tells us to do. Sometimes if someone told me, never open up a business in my life, you're never going to make it. Boy, I tell you what, boy, were they fibbers. Did I fail? Yes, I failed many times, but at least I tried doing the very best I could do. It's like talking. Am I talking now? Uh, I think God, all of us, God gives you, when you become Christian, you can do the same thing I do. You can come and talk online. You can do this because God wants us all to preach the word and help people out there become Christians and be better Christians, including myself. And I listen to the ones that have been out there for a long time, and I read my Bible, and I'm still learning. And I don't think if I ever read the Bible for 20 years solid, I could ever learn all that's in that Bible. I used to sit in my house in U.S. and I would sit and I would read the Bible, and I said, well, what does that mean? Well, what does that mean? But later on, after reading it and reading it and reading it, I go, I understand exactly what it's saying. And now when I look in the Bible and I read a chapter or I read a verse, I understand exactly what it's saying. Is it because of what? Is it because I have God in my heart? It has because I have God in my heart, and not only that is because I take the time and I read it and reread it, reread it, reread it. So God wants us to look always at the little things. He wants to always think about something. If you're at the supermarket and you're at, say, it doesn't matter, you're at a supermarket, you're at a buying parts at a store, or you're at someone, and you see all these things they're carrying up the counter. Do you sit there and just watch them as they go by, or do you say, oh, she's getting ready to drop that whatever she's carrying, or he is? You help them with that. Do you help the guy that has a flat tire, and you know he has a flat tire on the side of the road, and you have a pump in your car? Do you just drive right by? Oh, he's got a flat. Do you pull off the road and help the guy? Is it good to help a guy? In some instances, yeah, it's always good to help someone. Do you do it all the time? Is it something that it's a normal process for you to do? Do you think about doing it? Should I do it? Or is it all natural for you? And I think all of us need to take a step back and take a look at the small things in life and do a little bit of the small things and think about it. Do you tip someone that brings you your food at the table? Do you give them 5%, 10%? Do you give them the time? Do you give them the respect of saying, hi, how you doing? A lot of people would say, and this goes back in my memory. I remember I was always saying hi to a gentleman, and always saying hi. I always say hi to everybody. It doesn't matter. It's who I am. I was saying hi and hi and hi and how you doing today, and this, that, and other, and this, that, and other, and this, that, and other. Well, eventually this person ended up leaving that particular area and leaving the store he was at. It was a Walmart. Leaving the store, and back, a few years later, I'm walking in the store. I look up on the wall, it has a picture of the store manager, and I said, "Oh, that's a guy who used to work. He used to work in Mississippi, or he used to work in Tennessee. He's here now in Florida. What?" So I see him, and he goes, "Tom." I go, "What are you? Are you manager now?" "Yeah, I'm store manager. It took me years, but I got it." The little people matter. Everybody matters. Little people matter. The people that you see that you may not know. The guy that's cleaning the streets, which I clean the streets. I'll clean the street. I'll clean the toilet, and I've done it for jobs. I had to clean the toilet. My job, one of my jobs when I first got jobs, and even when you own a business, you clean the toilets. You clean everything because you own a business. It's still yours, and you still have to clean the toilets. You want clean toilets for people coming in there. Do you have somebody else clean them? No, a lot of times I clean them myself. I would clean whatever I need to clean, whatever I need to do. And a lot of times you have to do it because you don't have the money to pay someone else to do it. Sometimes we have to be aware of what's going on around us. There's wonderful people out there, and you can end up making some great friends. And you know what? That's the thing. I have to say, I've met some great friends, and I ended up being some friends to this day because of what's happened in my past. And a lot of times, a lot of people will get angry at you because you're so active and you're so happy. And a lot of people don't like happiness. People don't like seeing other people happy. A lot of times you'll say, why is that person so happy all the time? Why is that person happy at all? But you know what? You don't worry about them. You don't worry about what they're saying. You don't worry about that. You have Jesus in your heart, and that's the reason you're happy. And you tell them, I'm happy because I have Jesus in my heart. That guy straightened me out. He straightened me out years ago when I was 17. I was overloaded. I was stressed out. I had all these things I had to do, and everybody's putting all this stuff on me, and I couldn't take care. I couldn't do it all, and still couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it. And it got to the point. I said, I just can't keep doing this like this. So eventually I learned. I said, just go up and start telling them. I said, I can't keep doing this path. But you do learn. You take your time in life. You do learn what is really important for you to do. You may not like doing what you have to do. You may not like the job. But if you stay in it long enough, eventually you may end up liking it if you don't find another job. But the Lord puts you on paths you may not like. But at the end of the day, it may be the path that you said, this is where I'm supposed to be. God bless everybody, and thank you so much for always watching our streams, and thank you so much, the weekly worship channel, and thank you so much for spending your time. God bless.